Good morning, namaste, or good afternoon, or whatever time of day it is. Hello, Pelin, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, so this is going to be a Jalandhara Bandha focus class. In relation to the bandhas, the yogis want us to understand the body like a vase. Um, Now, a vase is a wonderful contraption for holding liquid, and in this case, we're talking about prana, we're talking about energy, but it also has some potential issues that can come along with owning a vase or a body. One of those things is that a vase can leak, as can a body leak prana. We leak through our senses. For human beings, it's primarily the eyes. So that's one of the reasons why we're asked to keep our eyes very steady in asana practice, or close the eyes or partially close the eyes in more meditative practices, because we leak a lot of prana out of the eyes. And why we're also asked to be very mindful with what we look at during our waking hours. So the body leaks. It also leaks through not just through the senses, but also through all of the holes in the body, including the pores of the skin. The other thing that we can think of when considering the dimensions of a vase is that the water or the liquid, or in this case the prana, the energy inside, can be displaced. Some of the stems can be getting nourishment, and some of the stems can be lacking, in the same way that we can have a lot of prana, a lot of vayu in one particular area of the body, but we actually need it in another part. We may have it in the pelvic region, but we need it in the heart. And so there's a little bit of a displacement of prana. And then the last thing is that the water inside of the vase can be impure. This is the really interesting point for me, that we can have prana, we can have a lot of prana, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the prana that we have is good. It can be tamasic, it can be rajasic, it can be a whole bunch of things. So what the bandhas do is they help us with all three of these potential issues. They help us to contain the energy from leaking, they help us reorganize prana within the body, and then this last part is they help us to make the prana that we do have more pure, more clear, more what we could call sattvic. And the way that that happens is when we start getting into really, really refined bandha work, the level of attention required to execute those bandhas in a very, very subtle way, that attention is what purifies prana. So our own level of attention to detail, our own focus, that's what makes prana inside the body more sattvic. And so we'll look at that. We'll look at that idea today. The practice that we're going to do is not a physically intense practice, but it is an energetically rich practice, and that's what I love about these Jalandhara Bandha practices so much. A few final notes. Jalandhara Bandha. Jalandhara means to catch the stream. So really what we're doing is we're drawing the chin slightly down, or lengthening the back of the neck and drawing the chin a little bit back. So we're creating this containment wall up here around the collarbones to stop the stream of prana from flowing to the head and disturbing the thought process. So we get a couple of major, quite meditative benefits with Jalandhara Bandha. One is that it starts to quieten the mind. Two is that we start to build up this rich pranic field around the heart. And the last one is a little bit more esoteric, but I'll tell you anyway. It's a phenomenon called Bindu Visarga. Bindu Visarga means nectar dropped from heaven. And it's this understanding from the yogis that we are always getting dropped wisdom and insight and intuitive understanding from the heavens, from this higher dimension. Call it intuition or whatever you like. And this is also called the Amrita, and it's dropping from the Sahasrara chakra, this crown chakra. what usually happens is that this amrit, this nectar, this wisdom or knowledge, it drops down into the body from the Sahasrara chakra, and it gets devoured or consumed by the sun of the Manipura chakra. So this is one of the reasons why inversions are so esteemed in the practice of asana, is because when we get upside down, we reverse that process so that the liquid, this amrit, is no longer dropping down into the body and getting devoured by the Manipura sun. It's actually starting to pool in the brain, and that's where this sort of this sense of enlightenment or enlightened mind or higher wisdom comes from. We can say the same with Jalandhara Bandha. When we activate Jalandhara Bandha, again, this containment wall, it's not just keeping active prana out of the head, it's actually containing sublime prana within the head. So those three things, rich around the heart, quiet in the peripheral parts of the mind, and then opening ourselves up to higher knowledge and wisdom from this nectar drop from heaven, which is a beautiful name. Okay, so that's where we're going today. Let's start.